So what do you say? You want to see my secret? I can see it.
Hello, everyone. We are back for another episode of Abby's Window. And as you all know, we have changed some things around and we are now permanently scheduled. And that is, I promise we are not changing this anymore. We're not doing it anymore. Jodie's head is spinning from the amount of times we've changed this. So we are on a static schedule, guys, and we are happy to be on a static schedule. So Abby's Window is going to come to you every week on a Wednesday. It is going to debut at 6 o'clock before the NXT and AEW stream. So we got a lot of your responses to a poll I stuck out there, and a lot of you voted for Wednesday. I know there were some of you that voted for Saturday as well, but listen, due to things that we have to do and everybody has to do, and Jodie works and myself, and I'm actually going back to work, and Jeff is working as well. So due to that, and we also got some good feedback and stuff from others. WrestleMania, one of the community, loves to give us feedback and mention some things about the show that she loves, and some things that some suggestions of what we could do. But one of the things they had said was, you know, if you could put it in the middle of a week, that could bust it up a little bit, and then we could talk about some things from last week, for some things we're looking forward to, and maybe some news in between if we get anything from Kyle or whoever. So long-winded intro. Sorry about that. Jodie, start us off. I know we didn't see Bray tonight, but what did we get on SmackDown?
We didn't see him, but we heard him. We heard that nice maniacal laughter that we all love. And, you know, he's such a sweetheart, leaving Braun a little gift to remind him of his past.
That was some gift. Yes. He, if you guys didn't see SmackDown, go back and watch. It's actually the first segment of the show.
That was surprising.
It was, yeah, because you don't normally see Bray or anything Bray related on the first segment. It's usually at the end of the show. So yes, it definitely was. And it was during a moment of bliss, which again, kind of odd. I mean, not with Braun, because Braun's been associated with Alexa Bliss, right? He had the tag team, the matches with her when they did the combined tag teams.
What was their nickname again?
Big
Team Little Big.
Team Little Big. Yes, she mentioned that as well. So yeah. So he was being interviewed there, and they talked about the upcoming match, and then suddenly they see that he sees in the corner of the ring that there's a little present over in the corner.
Isn't that sweet?
Very nice of him.
Very sweet.
Very, very nice, right?
Such a gentleman.
Now, we all saw, again, if you didn't see it, you know, we're not going to be giving spoilers at this point because it is what it is. But it was his mask from the Wyatt family in the box.
I knew as soon as he opened it, it was going to be the mask.
And Braun played it off very well because the man looked completely and utterly stunned when he saw, and shaken, actually, when he saw that mask. So, you know, after saying this big speech about how he's not going to let Bray's mind games get to him, he opens up the box, and there is mind games right there. So,
and then you get the laugh.
Yes, the laugh Beautiful. At the end as well. And then you got a clip, too. I didn't really know. I saw the still clip that they had of Braun wearing that, and I didn't know. I'm like, did he suddenly put it on? Like, I didn't know where they were going with that, because that's stuck on TV for a while, and then they went to the old Wyatt family stuff. So, you know, here we go again. What are we speculating is coming out of this? And again, I'll read some comments I got. I did put out a poll like I usually do for you guys, so I'll read some of those in a little bit. But what are we speculating is going to happen here? And I know, Jodie, you and Jeff were talking a little bit before I got on, and I know you were talking, is it good? Is it bad? What are you thinking? So what are you thinking?
I think when they announced that it was going to be Braun versus Bray, didn't with the Miz match, they actually said it was going to be Funhouse Bray, though?
Yes.
Well, they didn't do that this time. They just said it was going to be Braun versus Bray. They didn't say Funhouse Bray. They didn't say Fiend, the Fiend Bray Wyatt. They just said Bray Wyatt. So, and given that, the clips were of, his old Wyatt family days and cult leader Bray, I'm wondering if maybe he comes out and fights as cult leader Bray.
That's really interesting. Actually, because if you think about it, the Funhouse match, he was cult leader Bray.
Yes, he was.
So is that coming back as one of his personalities where he comes back out as that character? I mean, obviously he was wearing a different shirt than we've ever seen him in before with that. The beard again was a little different, obviously, because he has a different haircut and everything right now. But is that a possibility? Is that another face of Bray? That
I mean, they're all phases of Bray, but I'm wondering if maybe now after that Funhouse match, if you start to think, well, maybe he can play whichever character he wants, kind of like we talked about before, that he can change into whichever persona he wants. And it relates to the circle he's trying to mend. And obviously with Cena, what he was trying to mend was, it involved, old Bray at WrestleMania. So that's who he was when he told him to fix it. That was what he was trying to fix. And obviously with Braun, it was during that time as well when he was cult leader Bray. So yeah. I wonder if he's going to be more cult leader Bray-ish.
That could very well be. What do you think, Jeff?
I think the Funhouse match actually unlocked, basically like you unlock a character in a video game. I think it unlocked that character for Bray Wyatt. So now, not only does he have the Fiend, but he can tap back into cult leader Bray.
I would love that. Initially, I was kind of like, Braun versus Bray. It feels a little bit like Bray versus Miz. I don't know. That match was entertaining. Don't get me wrong. I loved it because I really do miss seeing Bray in the ring. I love the Fiend, but cult leader Bray was the version of him that I fell in love with. So I definitely missed seeing him in the ring. And that match was entertaining, but it didn't really mean a lot. Obviously it meant a lot to Bray, but like for the fans, it was like, oh, that was a cool match. It wasn't a big feud. So when, at first when they said, oh, it's Braun versus Bray Wyatt, I was thinking, oh, so this isn't a real big feud. But now kind of thinking about it and digesting it a little bit, if he comes out as cult leader Bray, my jaw will just hit the floor.
It's an interesting thought because, again, it's not like we just saw clips of that when he could have shown clips during the Funhouse match. They could have just easily taken clips. I mean, we talked about you mentioned that the Abby clip was taken from something. Yeah. So they could have just taken clips from that and had him
they
come
did use clips from that.
Right. But we still got a quote unquote live action, Funhouse Bray, or not Funhouse, live action cult leader Bray in that match. So yeah, man, I mean, and again, we go back to some of the theories that we've seen, especially C in his circle theory, and everything's coming back around. So did beating Cena unlock, like Jeff said, that character again?
Maybe he needs cult leader Bray to complete that circle.
Could very well be. That could very well be. And if that's the case, are they going to go backwards, and are we going to get an unlocked Husky Harris somewhere down the line?
I don't even know about that picture anymore.
Oh man, I don't know how he could get away with that one, because again, you'd have to. Well, yeah, he'd have to shave the beard. He'd have to. Yeah, I kind of don't think we'll see that, but.
No.
But yeah, it's super interesting as to where this is going to go. So what do you think? I mean, obviously we're heading toward that match. Now, you were saying they announced it as Bray versus Braun, not the Fiend, not so. obviously that's going to, is it Money in the Bank? And
Yep.
what do you think we're going to see? I mean, are they going to, because a lot of people are saying that, and I don't know if you guys watched oh my goodness, what's the name of the show that they do on Tuesday nights? Backstage. Yeah, I don't know if you guys watched it, but they were talking to the panelists, and CM Punk, Edge, and Booker T all kind of said that they don't like this matchup. CM Punk said he didn't like it because he said the establishment of Braun as a champion now after all these years, and then the fact that Bray had just lost to Goldberg. He said he doesn't see a good ending coming out of this for either one of them. Edge kind of agreed with him, or not
Yeah.
Edge, sorry, Christian. Christian kind of agreed with him and said the same thing. And then Booker T said, yeah, it confused him. It didn't make a lot of sense. So, I mean, what do what can be the results coming out of this? What do you think is going to happen here?
I think with it being Bray fighting him instead of the Fiend, I think if it would have been the Fiend, I mean, you can't not have the Fiend win. But now that they've said that it's going to be Bray Wyatt instead of the Fiend, there are ways that I feel like they could leave the belt on Braun, but still make Bray look strong. And Bray can still get his revenge and do what he needs to do. And, but people aren't going to like that either, because it's going to be something like, a DQ for Bray that leaves the belt on Braun, or, some kind of weird finish that leaves the belt in the same spot, but still allows Bray to, teach him a lesson that teach him the lesson that he wants to see him. Because, as Kyle said before, it's not about belts. And it would be a disservice, I think, to have Bray win the belt back so quickly, especially when, he said it's not about belts. And then all of a sudden he comes out and says, I want my toy back. So I think that confused people a little bit, but I think it would be a disservice to Braun Strowman to take the belt off of him that quickly. And then again, if they give it back to Bray, you're going to write him back into a corner like you did with Goldberg.
Yeah,
so I think the best outcome for this is Braun retains due to some DQ, or, something happens that Bray still gets his revenge, but Braun keeps the belt.
That's a great point. Jeff, what do you think?
All right, here's a question. What if we're all missing the point and missing what Bray is trying to do? And I'll explain what I'm saying. He said he wants his toy back. How do we know he's talking about the Universal Championship and not Braun?
Didn't he say it's on your shoulder?
Yep.
His
head is also on his shoulder.
That's a great point.
What's also on his shoulder?
His head. Braun's head is on his shoulders.
So my other question is, what if Bray Wyatt doesn't even want the belt? What if the toy that he's referring to is Braun, as in controlling his mind and having him do his bidding? So what if he comes out and on purpose, intentionally gets DQ'd, but in the midst of doing this, he brings back his toy, so to speak, and is controlling Braun?
Yeah. I mean, obviously Braun is going to change because of this, because everybody that's fought Bray or the Fiend or whoever he decides to be has changed. So this is obviously going to change Braun, and we already know that. And Braun said something interesting tonight too. Didn't he say, if you're ready, if you're going to come after me and not the belts?
He did.
Yep.
He did. And he said
he mentioned about Bray coming after Braun instead of coming after the belt.
Yeah, he did.
And it was subtle. And if you weren't paying attention, you wouldn't have caught that.
That's true. Let me read off a couple of comments now. I just threw this out there, so I know it's a rough time of the night. I think I threw it out there 10 minutes before SmackDown ended. So we got a comment from Timbo869 said, I liked it, and I figured that would go with regular Bray instead of the Fiend. Kofi Essentials 6195 said, I wonder if it was a gift from Abby and not Bray since he was Abby's black sheep. Also, this may have happened to him when he first met Bray. Abigail gifted him with the sheep mask, so it goes into the circle theory that the funhouse is built around. And then he says Braun is eventually going to follow that circle and turn heel. So, yeah, that's a great thought, Jeff. Certainly would fit in with the mind games, and also to Jodie's point. He wouldn't care about not winning the title at all.
Right.
If he's going to come out as, like we were saying, if he comes out as cult leader Bray, he doesn't care about that. And to Jeff's point, he's only looking to get Braun back. And again, the toy reference, everybody assumed it was the belt. And that's great. That would be right up Bray's alley to say something like that. Because it's something very cryptic, and not a lot of people would have even thought that was what he was talking about.
And he also said on Twitter too, adding to that theory of Braun being the toy, he said on Twitter that Braun never left.
Yeah.
Yep.
That's true. And we all know that this stuff all plays, this stuff is you can't really pass anything up, because things that are said somewhere down the road, whether it's 2 months prior or whatever the case might be, a lot of that stuff fits into this, and and he brings it up a couple months later, so you can't really ignore anything that he said.
Very true.
Well, it looks like it's going to be another amazing journey to something here. We're going to get something crazy and something happen, something obviously big is going to happen here. So,
and obviously this is going to continue to build over the next few weeks. We've got 3 weeks until Money in the Bank. So
yeah, absolutely.
This is going to get more intricate and confusing in the most beautiful way.
So obviously now you guys were talking earlier a little bit too about the, why do you think, cause I don't necessarily think that this is going to happen, but like I said, explain why, Jodie. I know you said you think he's going to attack Triple H.
Yes, I do.
Why would you think 100%. That? Because I don't remember any history between them, unless I'm wrong.
I don't really remember any history between him and Kurt Angle or Mick Foley either. But
that's true.
But I mean, well, my husband's not telling me he did, but
little interaction with him.
Well, he's had little interactions with Triple H too. So, he's had this history of just attacking the legends.
That's true. Yep, that's true. And I'm sure everybody.
Next week too, we're also getting that backstory of Braun and Bray on SmackDown as well. So that's going to be interesting to watch. And it's, Triple H's special event, and why not?
What if didn't somebody theorize, and it might have been C Wrestling too, I'm not sure, but didn't somebody theorize that he pulls moves from Legends, or that because he pulled Mick Foley's move from him? And I mean, now granted, it didn't happen with everybody, but what's to say he doesn't need another move somewhere to use? And he grabs, and he does something to Triple H, and then he pulls a move from Triple H, to use as one of his other persona.
Yeah, I could definitely see that. I just think, he will take the opportunity to attack a legend.
It's very true. The only one we saw him not go after was Stone Cold, and he explained with the clock, I remember, and everything like that, saying that, essentially you don't go after a rattlesnake or something like that. I remember that the vignette.
Yeah, because he's just doing. You can't blame a rattlesnake for doing rattlesnake things.
Right. Yep. That's it.
But I would be surprised if he didn't attack Triple H. I think.
Yeah, it's definitely a good call. I mean, you know, he does tend to go after guys like that. I mean, he's gone after almost everyone. He even went after Hulk Hogan, even though Hogan wasn't in the building.
Right.
He did the vignette when Hogan was So who knows? I mean, does it come in the way of a fun house? Because
Nope.
they could. You just think it's a straight up attack? Yeah.
Yep.
Okay.
Just like it was with Mick Foley and Kurt Angle. I think he's just gonna show up and ruin his party. He's gonna crash the party.
I mean, you would think that it's going to happen at the end of the show.
Yep.
For sure. So there, you know, that Triple H thing will definitely be at the end of the show. No question about it. Yeah. What do you think, Jeff? You think he's going to attack the, like I said, I wasn't sure. I remember when they first announced that, I was like, yeah, okay. You know, obviously then I was thinking along the same lines, but then that was before they started the whole Braun thing. And I'm thinking like, okay, you know, are they gonna go with a feud with him and Triple H now, you know, for a little bit? But what do you think, Jeff? Do you think he's gonna attack him?
I think he does attack him. But here's another question. I'm full of theories tonight. What if you remember how he talks about the reptilians?
Yeah.
Yes.
What if all the legends represent reptilians? Because he talks about how they're still around.
That's interesting.
I think the legends, when he talks about the reptilians still being around, I think he's, you know, kind of implying that the reptilians should be gone. Everyone thinks that they're gone and out of the way, retired. But he tells us that they're still around. So maybe that's who they represent to him.
Yeah.
And he is kind of taking different things from the legends he has attacked. If you think about it, with Mick Foley, he's got, you know, the faces of Foley.
And the mandible claw.
And the mandible claw. So he took those things. With Angle, you see during the Firefly Funhouse match, he was able to channel that when he brought Cena out. And
Same thing with Hulk Hogan.
Right. Hulk Hogan, he cuts the promo on the 80s set of Saturday Night Main Event. So maybe he is taking bits and pieces of them, not necessarily moves, but different things to be able to channel that. Just a theory.
No,
what do you think? So, okay, let's explore that a little bit. What would you take from Triple H?
Let's see here.
A pedigree?
No, I think either the sledgehammer,
which he has a hammer already, technically.
Which he has a hammer, but, you know, maybe this one's more violent. And the other thing that I would say is, the other thing is, how does Triple H refer to himself? What do people call him?
The King.
The King, the and they call him the Game. So
the cerebral assassin.
The cerebral assassin.
Yep. I think that would fit.
What if that's what he takes from Triple H? Because he hasn't really used the mallet either.
Yep, that's true.
He has the mallet, but he hasn't used it very often.
True.
Yeah, that is very true. He brought it out a couple times, but actually I don't think the only person I think got hit with it was Seth, if I'm not mistaken.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He brought it out like he was going to get Miz with it, but he never did.
Wouldn't that be something if the Fiend came out with the hammer and whacked Triple H with the hammer when he attacked him instead of it? That would be a real turnaround, wouldn't it? After Triple H hit so many people with a sledgehammer in his career.
Yeah.
That would be something. Wow. That's man, you got to love this character because there's so many theories and so many things. This is actually one of the things that WrestleMania brought up in her comments too when she was, again, kind enough to send us DMs. She really puts she sends us a lot of ideas and stuff like that, and she wrote down some ideas and stuff, and one of the things she said was, you even if you don't have anything you have to talk about, really, you have things to talk about, just because of the fact that there's all these theories that you could do and all this kind of stuff that you can mention and everything like that. So yeah, thanks. Shout out to her for doing that. And then we have another comment here by DJ B Tazzy. Shout out to DJ. DJ's a big fan of the podcast. He wrote, I think this is a slow build for Braun to turn heel, which he needs badly. Just saying. And then he has hashtag the black sheep and hashtag I love this storyline.
Well, I mean, he's got to become a heel anyway for when Roman comes back into the picture.
Wow, That's a great point. That's a great point. He does. Yeah, that's a great point. And what better way? Ooh, man, I like that. What better way when he comes back? Now, we don't know when, but what better way when he comes back? And if it's Strowman against Roman, and
Strowman versus Roman. I like that.
Roman, and then he goes up into that match with that black sheep mask on. And what if Bray is in his corner or helping him somehow? Oh boy. Because I mean, that would be almost like the perfect revenge, really, for Bray, because obviously the stories were, and the stories are, that they saved that title for Roman. That title
right.
for Roman. So boy, oh boy. I mean, if you can get him back somehow, that would be a hell of a way to get him back, would be to be in Braun's corner.
And then that would set up the feud with Roman too.
It would. Yep. Oh yeah. Yeah. Wow. Well, look at that. There you go. Oh man.
Once again, this is why we love Bray.
Yes, it is. I'll tell you. Have you guys seen the artwork from Kyle for the past few? Oh my God! It's been crazy, crazy. He's done I actually had to save them because I want to use these as backgrounds as screensavers and stuff. He has the first one was a shot that was definitely a take on the Joker. He has the hurt glove with a knife, and it's inside of his mouth, and it looks like he's cutting the mouth with oh man, definitely a take on the Joker, but with the Fiend mask. Then he had another one that was the Phantom of the Opera, with the face, and then taking the mask off in the hand, and then the other one. This one blew my mind because this one has, and obviously all the theories of the Fiend character going away and everything like that. This one has a picture of a devil standing in the background, again with the Fiend mask on. So if you look at the devil, obviously the horns, but it has the mask on, wearing the colors. So the red and black striped jacket, and then in the foreground, the Fiend's mask is burning, basically on fire, laying on the ground. Oh my God! The artwork is phenomenal.
He's
an
incredible artist.
Hats off, man. That the artwork is phenomenal, and I love how he put another one out there now too.
With all the eyes on it,
with the eyes and stuff, and I loved he labeled that. Jeff, did you see that one?
I did not see that one.
He labeled it with the room number from the Shining.
Yep.
Wow.
He labeled it with the room number from The Shining, and someone actually called it out and said, "Any reason why you use that number from the room with The Shining?" And he goes, "Other than the fact that I really love the movie, not really." but I was like, wow, dude, that one is insane. There's like faces and eyes everywhere on it, but it's all a differentiation of the I don't know what we're seeing here. Like, I don't know, everybody was assuming it was but I don't know if this is maybe just all of in the interview that he had with us. And again, if you guys have not listened to the interview, go to our YouTube page and check it out. But again, he talked about the origin and the drawings and everything that they came up. Is this just some of the art that he may have, drawn for Bray when Bray came to him with these ideas?
I think it's, when he, in that interview too, he was talking about, when I sit down and draw now, most of the time it's the Fiend. Bray's kind of become my muse. And I think that's what this is.
Yeah.
I don't really, obviously he's gonna put Cult of Wyndham on it because it's all Bray related and it's great. And but I think a lot of this is just he's sitting down to draw, and Bray has become this inspiration for him. So he's just drawing what he feels, and he's sharing it with everybody, which is absolutely wonderful.
Could very well be. And what he wrote. Oh, that's now his header, by the way, on his Twitter page, is the picture with all the eyes. So he made his actual header on there. He also wrote, so I thought this was interesting, not only Cult of Wyndham, but then he wrote the Fiend hashtag, and he also wrote hashtag pain is coming on that picture.
Mm-hmm.
So, on the one with the devil in the background, he entitled it "The Trumpet Sounds." On that one, and then
which is another biblical reference.
Yep. And then he wrote the other one with the Phantom of the Opera, wrote "Fiend of the Opera" based on cover art from the Robert Englund take. And then the other one was, this one was an Easter thing. He wrote, "My pastor is a fan of my Fiend work, so I think that gives me a pass to post this kind of lunacy on Easter." And then he had a clown face with a knife. So, yeah, man.
He also made a really beautiful picture on Easter. Did you guys see that?
I did. Yes, it was very, very. Yeah, it was. It was
a good picture.
Breathtaking. Yeah. Yes, I did see that. That was really phenomenal. So, obviously, guys, if you aren't following Kyle Scarborough, you want to do that if you're a Fiend fan. There are certain people out there that you want to follow. Obviously, people out there that are friends of Bray's. He is one of them, and obviously our next interview. So, Jodie, tell them all about the next interview we're doing. I know you kind of teased this a little bit before, but tell them about the next interview, because we've got this coming up. I'm getting ahead of myself. I forgot about the schedule again. So we had this great interview with Mr. Jason Baker, who is the guy who created the Fiend mask. So now, you know what? Let's talk about that, because obviously it's in the past.
Right.
So yeah,
it's been posted now.
What did we get from that Jason Baker interview? I mean, what were the highlights of it for you, Jodie?
One thing that sticks out to me, which is an amazing fun fact, is that the lantern has Bray's real hair in it.
Yes, that was really cool when he told us that. And that was, he kind of actually, it was, I could kind of tell it was tough for him to talk about a lot of the stuff. And again, I completely understand that. He was nice enough to give us as much as he could, and understanding that, he and Tom Savini and that company are obviously under contract with WWE. So, there's only so much they can say, and that is certainly completely understandable. So, but yeah, he actually shared that with us a little bit later, because he talked about the Bray mask a little, went into some detail about that whole story, and then kind of went away from it a little bit, and we were chatting about horror and things like that, and then he kind of gave us that toward the end. So that was really that was interesting. The lantern was made with Bray's own hair, so go figure.
And there's only one of them.
Yes.
And also interesting that there's only one Fiend mask. So that's something that's been speculated and talked about.
Yes.
That people like, oh, this mask looks like it's been changing. Is it darker? No, it's not. It's the same mask that they created originally, and it's all lighting and camera lenses.
Yes, it's the work of Hollywood, ladies and gentlemen. The camera is changing the look of the mask. So yes, we thought we were seeing, I was fooled by it too. I looked at the photo captions, and you could see it looked like there was a crack in the nose. It looked like the teeth were disintegrating on it a little bit, but that is actually them doing the trick of the camera with the mask. So yeah,
doesn't mean that it doesn't mean anything.
Correct.
But it's, they didn't make a new mask for that. It was just camera work.
And we also found out from him that the mask has never changed, and the mask was never flesh colored. So way to go, WWE, for screwing up that mask when you first put it out on the market. It was not ever supposed to be flesh colored. It was always
Supposed
white.
to be white.
And I was dumb enough to buy one of the flesh colored ones when it first came out. And yeah, it was the worst thing I'd ever seen. I decided to paint it, and at least I kind of made it a little bit better. But Jason did give us, so those of you who are into merch, Jason did say that it was supposed to be on during WrestleMania, during the fan.
Oh yeah, I forgot about this.
That they were licensed to make a Fiend mask. So man, that's amazing. I know I'll be all over that. I love to collect masks. I have tons of Friday the 13th masks and so on. So yeah, man, that is super exciting. Now let's hope it doesn't cost $7,000.
Right. Although the way he talked about it made it kind of sound like it's going to be expensive.
Yeah.
So, which
yeah.
I get it. I said that about the belt. I get it. It's a piece of art. And I think if they do that with the mask as well, it will be that way as well. It will be a piece of art, not something that you wear. Yeah,
it could be. I mean, you can do many different things with a mask. Like if you make them, they can actually put them in they can put them in a display. They can put them in glass, basically, right. and do it that way, where it's kind of a thing you just hang on a wall. But the mask is enclosed. I know I've seen things like that. Actually, Freddy versus Jason, the movie years ago, they made a Jason mask with a Freddy glove going up through the holes in the mask, and it was from the film. And they encased that in glass, and they sold those. And they were hundreds of dollars. So, yeah. I mean, it could be either way. That we might see that, but it's pretty exciting. So, and they're still coming out with that stuff. So yeah, again, we'll just give you a little reminder. If you haven't listened to that interview, obviously that debuted with Raw on this past Monday. So before the Raw stream, Jason Baker's interview debuted. So go back and listen to that if you did not already, because again, this is another guy who is instrumental in the creation of this character, and talks about, again, not just the Fiend, but we talked a lot about Tom Savini, his boss. We talked a lot about horror films. So if you guys are into that stuff, do not miss that as well. So, and we are still going forward with this, guys. We're trying to get, again, Jodie's been in talks with Jesse Cage. Again, trying to get him on as soon as we can. And yeah, so that, there's more on the way, and we're going to try, and hopefully one day we can get Kyle back on the show. Like I said, I'd love to get his take on things when things progress a little bit with the character, because he really couldn't talk to us about it very much when we were talking during WrestleMania. So yeah, man, exciting stuff that we have got for you guys, and stuff like that going forward. So yeah, so I mean, so let's go even a little farther into the future. So let's say comes out of this, let's say Strowman retains, like you said, Jodie. I mean, are we still thinking something big for him in SummerSlam down the road? Are we thinking maybe that's the time with Roman and Braun? And then if that's the case, what does the Fiend do after that? Is it too soon for Undertaker? I mean, who's next on the list?
I go back and forth with the Undertaker thing. Part of me feels like it could be in November at Survivor Series, because it's a big anniversary for Taker. But then there's another part of me that says, well, if he's rewriting history, he's got to face Undertaker at WrestleMania. So I don't know about Undertaker. It could be at Survivor Series. It could be at WrestleMania. I think if he's going down that route of rewriting history, it should be at WrestleMania next year. In the meantime, I mean, you've got, obviously the Roman thing is going to happen eventually. So I think that could be the next thing on his list. They may even do that before they put the belt on him. That if Roman's back for SummerSlam, maybe it's Roman versus the Fiend at SummerSlam, and then, you know, Roman goes on to challenge for the belt. Maybe they ease him back into working on a full schedule and maybe let Braun have the belt for a little while.
Yeah, I would think so. What do you think, Jeff? I mean, where do you think where do you think this goes next? Obviously, if Braun turns, if this is all maybe to get Braun turned as a heel, which is kind of what we theorized here. So, where does Bray go next? And look, if it is Bray that is wrestling him, and if it's going to be the cult leader Bray, is Fiend gone for a while? I mean, or now obviously we think we're going to see an attack on Triple H, so that probably won't be regular Bray. But I mean, is this just going to keep going back and forth? Are they just going to keep switching around? Is he going to just keep bringing certain characters out for certain times? So, I mean, what do you see in the future?
I think that we could see. I don't think they'll do the Undertaker thing right now. I'm just trying to figure out who they would bring over. Maybe somehow they explain it where they have to split Edge and Randy Orton up from both being on Raw. So then Randy comes to SmackDown, and maybe that's something that kind of starts to build.
That's gonna be an insane feud.
Yes. And that's another one that you could say very easily could be on WrestleMania.
Yeah.
So I mean, I think if he doesn't go from a storyline perspective, it makes more sense for him to beat The Undertaker at WrestleMania. But if you're going from a historical perspective, with this being The Undertaker's 30th year, maybe you do something there. But I think that, maybe we see Braun kind of come to the dark side a little bit, so to speak. And maybe he begins to try and recruit others as cult leader Bray. Just a thought.
Yeah, that could be. Obviously, Eric Rowan is no longer with the company.
That's so sad.
Jeff and I talked about this a lot on the podcast this past. Well, we talked about it a little bit. We didn't want to dwell on it because it was just it was a really rough week for WWE as a whole. And Eric Rowan was a casualty as well, and Bray obviously tweeted out "yuck" when all that was going on. So listen, it's we all love this stuff, we all watch this stuff, we all get into it, but the reality of it is no one is safe from all this, and you saw that people who were involved in storylines like the OC and other things like that. But obviously Rowan is now gone, so obviously we wish him the best, and I'm sure a place like AEW would be silly not to pick him up. He's a big guy, very athletic, and he would certainly fit right in with his ex-partner Brody Lee in the Dark Order. So but yeah, I mean, if he does formulate something new, like to Jeff's point, Braun obviously could be in it, and then who else do you go with? I mean, maybe everybody gets their wish, and you finally see his brother, Bo Dallas, come into the fold. Bo has tweeted out some pictures recently, and I gotta say he's got that beard growing kind of long, and we know that the old the cult leader Bray liked his guys with those long beards. So yeah, maybe Bo Dallas comes into the fray. So who knows, man? That certainly could be something down the road. I don't know. I think I agree with you guys. I think Undertaker is going to be put on the shelf for a little bit. I don't see him coming back until his Survivor Series thing, whatever that's going to be. I'm hoping that's Bray. That would be an amazing thing for Undertaker to do. If he does retire and he puts Bray over in his retirement match, now we don't know. There's a lot of rumors going around. It could be Undertaker Sting in that match as well. So You know what? It's hard to say. I could tell you that Randy is going to be super exciting because
Oh yeah, I
Randy
think that's
Orton.
the feud I'm looking forward to the most.
Randy Orton does not scare.
No.
So you can't play mind games with him as much. Randy
Mm-mm.
take the mind game. So again, going back to the whole circle theory, maybe Bray knows that deep down inside he can't play these same games with Randy Orton. So is he going to have to just come at him with a completely different persona in order?
He's got to build up his strength first.
Yep. Because I don't think he can come at him with just Fiend because to me, I think Randy Orton just doesn't care.
Nope.
Yeah, that's going to be an amazing.
I can't wait.
Amazing matchup, man.
Going back to this Bo Dallas theory, me and C Wrestling have talked about this extensively about Sister Abigail, and I know he put out that great theory video about Sister Abigail and her being the enemy of the Fiend because if you look at she told Bray that he was the man in the woods, so the Fiend has always been with him, but Abigail was always kind of the one that was in control. She was the main voice in his head, so I feel like she was the one that kept the Fiend in check. And then when he got thrown into the Lake of Reincarnation and they were separated, that's what brought forward the Fiend because Abby wasn't there controlling him anymore. So now that Abby is free, not necessarily free, but now that she no longer has a host, I'll put it that way. Now that she no longer has a host, what if somewhere down the road, she picks another host? And Bray talks a lot about his brothers, and she helped raise him and his brothers. And, what if she inhabits another host in Bo Dallas, and Bo is the one to defeat the Fiend because she knows how. Because she's always kept him in check. She's always been in control of the Fiend. Yeah.
Again, really, really interesting theory. And it's, I mean, there's so much to go into. I mean, we say this every single week, man. This has to be made into a movie. It really does. There's just so much about. I mean, I don't even know if a 2-hour movie can contain it. They might have to do like a trilogy here. Young Bray to the old, and then someone also came out. What did I see? Someone put a picture up. I can't remember. I wish I could credit this because someone on our Twitter feed, I think I saw this anyway. And they put out a picture of a house, and it just looked like a normal house. It didn't look. It was obviously an older home, but white siding, like the old style metal siding on the house. And they had said this is where it all started, and they had a picture of this house. And it was talking about when Abby took in Bray. So I don't know. I don't even know who posted that. I'd love to credit it, but I can't even remember. I should have saved it and I didn't. Yeah, man, like there's so much to this story from, the time that he was a child to when Abby took him in to, when the Man in the Woods thing happened and then the evolution of that whole thing. It blows my mind how, we were just talking to a wonderful community member, and I'm going to shout her out. Her name's Brandy. Brandy Smith, we did an interview with her, and she had said how she loved Abby's window. Thank you to Brandy. And she mentioned how Jodie really explains in detail the things that she's not able to see because she obviously she's blind and she cannot see the TV when it comes on. So shout out to her. And she, she mentioned that she loved characters with big storylines like this. And Jeff and I completely agreed with her. Do you want to give me a great character and anything like that with a great storyline, man? I'm in.
Chris also noticed something when you were talking about the Man in the Woods video. It reminded me of it. Go and watch some of the other ghost stories.
Okay.
It is definitely Bray's voice at the end. It doesn't matter. I think we were watching Paige's one.
Mm.
And at the very, very end, it's definitely Bray's voice. He's saying all of them are. At the very, very end, you hear it's like Bray telling a little tiny story at the end. But they're all Bray. It sounds like Bray anyway.
Wow. Okay.
But go watch the other ones, especially like Paige was the only one that I actually watched myself. But he said all of them are like that. There's a little snippet of Bray talking at the end.
Wow, that's amazing. That's interesting. So, well, we have come to a time. So before we close this out, Jodie, I'm going to have you do this every week too, because obviously we have everybody that is a big Fiend fan out there. So tell them about some of the new merch that might be out there. I know you got that amazing box. Did you get your box in yet?
I did.
How cool is that? Because obviously I couldn't get it. They ran out before I could even put an order in.
Oh, it's awesome. It's awesome.
It has that cool coin, that's two-sided coin in it.
Yep, the two-sided coin, which reminded me of Two-Face.
Yes.
Very, very Batman-esque.
I have an actual Two-Face coin that I got from a VHS box set that came out with that Batman, with that episode, or with that movie in it. And when I saw that, I'm like, oh man, that's amazing.
Yeah, that was the first thing I thought of was, oh, it's like Two-Face. Like Two-Face's coin.
Yeah.
Like, you could equate it to the gloves, too. The gloves are kind of his version of a Two-Face coin.
Yep.
So, it's a great box. We also, me personally, in terms of merch, we just ordered the McBoss Man t-shirt that says, "This is good shit" on it.
Yep.
And I also ordered 2 posters from pictures from WrestleMania. One is Cult Leader Bray and the other one is the Fiend, and they're both standing in the same position with their arms out.
Nice. I know
that's going to get added to when we actually move into a house later this year. It's going to get added to our man cave, which is going to be our family cave, really. But
the Fiend cave, I guess. Yeah. I saw that coloring picture too that he had out there. That artist that draws the pictures for WWE put that picture out where he did a video of it where his family was coloring the whole thing in, so it wasn't a completed painted picture of him. And they kind of it was him with the characters in the funhouse. So the Fiend in the middle, Mercy and Ramblin' and Abby around him, and it wasn't colored. So I was like, oh, that's kind of interesting. You could have a little color party, something for people to do in the house now with the kids and everything like that. And have them help you color in a piece of art. So I thought that was really awesome too. There's going to be a lot of merch, guys, coming with him this year. Obviously, I put in my order for the Elite Series figure when that was announced a few weeks back. I know a lot of you guys in the community did as well. So there is going to be a lot of merch coming out. I would not be at all surprised if Mattel doesn't jump all over it and do a Funhouse play set with the puppets and stuff. So I wouldn't be at all surprised because, look, when merch is released like that, it is a cash cow, and these companies are hurting now because of the virus. So they're going to do anything they can to get some stuff. So I know. I also for anybody in the community that is a tabletop gamer, I used to play a game years back called Hero Clicks. What it is that they're little miniatures on a base. Yeah, man. I was addicted. Used to play it every single week at a little store that I was close to. And, they now have WWE clicks, and they have a Fiend click, and this thing is amazing. Look it up. It's called WWE Clicks, CLIX, and the Fiend is carrying the lantern. And man, the sculpts on these things now are amazing. When I was playing years ago, they weren't nearly as good. Now they are amazing. And the lantern has smoke coming out of the lantern, like a clear plastics. Oh, it looks so good. I'm going to end up buying it, even though I don't play anymore, just because then it looks amazing. But yeah, man, there's just going to be so much merch coming. And, oh man, it's a great, great time to be a fan of the character. And obviously, guys, too, before we leave you, if you have not gone and seen this, Jodie has done the video as well with her kids. And Jodie, talk about that a little bit, because again, I'm not as familiar with that challenge. I know you did a video of the challenge, so.
Yeah, so it's the Don't Rush challenge, and I saw it when I didn't really see it until Sasha Banks and all the divas kind of did it. I was like, that's really cool. And someone had mentioned to me about doing it. I said I should do a Bray themed Don't Rush challenge, because I have all this Bray merch and nowhere to wear it right now. So it originally started, I was just going to do it of myself, and I went and asked my 13-year-old stepdaughter. I said, all right, do you know how to put all these videos together? And she goes, yeah. So that kind of snowballed into her wanting to be in it with me, which obviously snowballed into my 7-year-old stepdaughter wanting to be in it with me too. So yeah, we went to, funnily enough, we went and recruited one of the rooms at church and filmed it all there. And then Jeff put it all together for me, and Meta, my good buddy Meta, gave me permission to use his song in it, which I have loved that song for a really, really long time. He's a phenomenal artist, and I love him dearly. He is my brother. So, yeah. So
nice.
It was a lot of
awesome.
fun. It was a good bonding experience for me and the kids, which was great. And we had a blast making it, and got to listen to that song about 50 times while we were making it.
That's awesome, guys. Check that out if you haven't already. I know some of you have already complimented Jodie on her efforts with that. So if you haven't already, go to our YouTube page. We have that on our YouTube as well. Check that video out. It was really cool. I know that challenge has been done by WWE guys as well. I've seen the one with R-Truth. I think it starts with R-Truth,
Yep.
which is really funny if you haven't seen that. So, and that was based along those lines of that. So yes, if you have not done it, check that out as well. And hey, guys, we can chat with you all night about Bray Wyatt. We love doing it. And listen, thank you so much for joining us again today for Abby's Window. As always, send us your thoughts about Bray, your theories, your drawings, the artwork, everything else. I know we've been getting some from Jodie's friend Brittany K. She's been sending me some Fiend pics and stuff like that. So, yeah, send us anything you want about Bray, and this is the spot that we're going to talk about it. And there's always something to talk about when it comes to Bray Wyatt and the Fiend character. So thank you so much for joining us. And listen, a shout out to Jeff too, as well, for being here with us tonight. He again, like Jodie said, does amazing work with the sound and with the videos that we do. So shout out to Jeff, man. Thanks for doing all that work, and thanks for doing Jodie's video as well. And yeah, we will see you guys next week right here at this same time. We are not changing. We are keeping this time. So every Wednesday at 6 p.m. sharp, be here for Abby's Window. Thank you so much, guys, and we will talk to you all very soon. Take care, everybody, and have a fiendish week.